Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're going to completely shatter everything you thought you knew about hunger, aging, and human potential. We usually look at hunger as this state of deprivation, right? Like it's a negative feeling we just have to fix immediately by grabbing a snack. But what if I told you that shifting your entire paradigm around hunger is actually the master key to cellular regeneration? We're exploring a biological mechanism that will quite literally allow your cells to eat their way back to youth.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, the missing protein mystery. 2, the aging protein Rubicon. 3, mTOR versus AMK modes. 4, 3 pitfalls of fasting. 5, the cellular regeneration protocol. And finally 6, the superhuman mindset. Don't worry if the biology sounds complex. I promise this deep dive is going to give you highly actionable, life-changing habits. Let's get into it.
Section 1, the missing protein mystery.
So, there is this massive, fundamental gap in our everyday biological knowledge when it comes to human protein consumption. To just maintain your physical body, I'm talking your muscles, your organs, your skin, the average adult needs to synthesize approximately 300 grams of protein every single day. That's just the baseline requirement to keep the machine running.
But here's the shocking contrast. The average person only consumes about 80 grams of protein daily through their actual diet. So, if we need 300 grams just to survive, but we're only eating 80,
it begs this massive question. Where in the world does the missing 220 grams come from? How does our bodies survive this huge daily deficit without just, withering away into nothing? It's the ultimate biological cognitive itch. We are short 220 grams of protein every single day.
Well, the answer is a magical little process called autophagy. It comes from the Greek words auto, meaning self, and phagi, meaning to eat. You might have actually heard of the Ouroboros, that ancient symbol of a snake eating its own tail. That is exactly what our cells do. When we aren't eating, our cells go on the hunt for old, damaged, and decaying proteins inside our body, break them down, and recycle them into fresh, new materials. We are literally eating ourselves to stay young. And this isn't just theory. This incredible discovery actually won Dr. Yoshinori Ohsumi the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine back in 2016.
Moving to Section 2, the aging protein, Rubicon. Now you might be wondering, if autophagy is so amazing, why do we still age? Well, scientists discovered this 60-year-old wall caused by a culprit called Rubicon. Think of Rubicon as a biological brake pedal. As we age, especially around age 60, Rubicon levels in our bodies spike, and it essentially blocks our cellular garbage disposals, which are called lysosomes, from doing their job. Because the cells can't clean out the trash, old decaying cells accumulate, and we experience this as aging. But here is the absolute craziest part. When scientists removed this pesky Rubicon protein in nematodes, their lifespan increased by 1.2 times and their physical activity literally doubled. To lower our own Rubicon levels, the source points to one primary, totally free solution. We simply have to eat less. Which brings us to Section 3, mTOR versus AMPK modes.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how our body's metabolic states are completely binary. You literally cannot be in both at the same time. We have mTOR mode and AMPK mode. When you eat, you trigger mTOR. This is your state of growth and storage. Your body's like, awesome, food is here, let's build and store. But it completely shuts down the recycling process. On the flip side, when you fast, you trigger AMPK mode. This is the purification and regeneration phase. Think of AMPK mode as a factory at night. It's like swapping out tired, old mitochondria for adorable, fresh, energetic little factory workers while we sleep. But you only get those fresh workers if the factory line of eating has completely stopped.
So, how long does it actually take to flip that switch? Well, it takes about 4 hours just to digest a meal. Then, from 4 to 12 hours, your body burns through its stored sugars. It's only around the 12 to 16-hour mark that your body runs out of sugar, switches to burning fat or ketones, and magically flips that AMKP regeneration switch. That 16-hour mark is where the heavy cellular cleaning truly begins.
Section 4. 3 pitfalls of fasting.
Listen, simply starving yourself is not enough to trigger healthy autophagy. We have to avoid 3 major biological traps. Pitfall number 1 is a lack of minerals. Remember those lysosomes we talked about, the cellular garbage disposals? Well, they require 5 specific minerals to function: zinc, magnesium, potassium, selenium, and manganese. Because modern soil is heavily depleted, our food often lacks these. If you fast but you're mineral deficient, your cells can break things apart, but they literally can't finish the recycling process. You just end up with a bunch of cellular trash sitting there. You have to actively replenish these minerals.
Pitfall 2 is all about your gut bacteria.
Your microbiome acts as a support system for autophagy by producing something called spermidine. To get your gut bugs to produce this, they need traditional plant-based foods. The source highly recommends traditional Japanese superfoods. We're talking natto, miso, soy, brown rice, and mushrooms. A degraded junk food gut biome simply won't support optimal cellular regeneration, even if you are diligently fasting for 16 hours.
And pitfall 3. So, the crucial point is, you must supply the 9 essential amino acids, or EAAs, to successfully rebuild the cells you just broke down. Breaking down old cells is completely useless if you lack the building blocks to put the new ones together. Since your body cannot make these 9 amino acids on its own, supplementing with EAAs during your fasting window is absolutely essential to ensure your body can rebuild itself stronger than before.
Section 5. The Cellular Regeneration Protocol.
Okay, let's put all this fascinating cellular biology into daily practice. Step 1. Implement a 16-hour fasting window to flip that AMK switch. Step 2. Replenish those 5 key minerals. Step 3. Cultivate your gut biome with traditionally fermented foods. And Step 4. Supplement with essential amino acids. And this brilliantly illustrates how the 47-year-old host in our source material actually lives. He maintains sky-high energy, builds a thriving muscular physique, and continues to break his own physical records while eating essentially just one solid meal a day.
Finally, Section 6. The Superhuman Mindset.
To truly harness this protocol, we have to elevate this biology into a philosophical paradigm shift regarding how we view our own potential. The philosopher Nietzsche had a concept contrasting the last man with the superhuman. The last man is complacent. They blame age for their decline, they avoid challenges, and they just settle for comfort. But the superhuman mindset rejects those societal norms about aging. By tapping into cellular regeneration, you stop identifying with decay. The Source's host uses this exact mindset to continually break his own weightlifting records at age 47. He recently hit 330 reps of a 115-kilogram partial bench press. No way, right? He doesn't believe his body is failing. He believes it is constantly regenerating.
And that brings us to our final thought. The superhuman is one who overcomes past values to create new strength and shatter their own limits. When you realize your body has a built-in mechanism to literally eat its own decay and build itself anew every single day, you are no longer a victim to the passage of time. So my question for you is, once you unlock your own cellular regeneration, what limits are you going to shatter? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.